There's a bittersweet feeling in the air this week. Bittersweet.
It's bitter because we're not national championship contenders, but it's sweet because we have a chance to make it all right on Saturday.
Well, I was going to say bittersweet because we're entering week 14 of the regular season. This is the final week of the regular season. Final week of the regular season.
There's still Navy Army week next week. Nope.
Do you know Akron season's been over for like 6 days at this point?
I did not know that. Shut up,
Akron played. It was Tuesday or Wednesday of last week. That was the final game of their regular season because this weekend is their second bye.
They need to get their. They need to get extra time for their finals so they can get that GPA.
I was going to say, they got plenty of time. Study up for finals. Make sure they get that APR up so next year they can make a bowl game.
Could they have made a bowl game this year? What was their record?
No, I think they went 5-7. I think they went 5-7, so they wouldn't have been eligible anyways. But
to Akron's math, 5-7 would have made them a bowl game.
That would have. The funny part is I saw someone make the joke on Twitter that, if we go down to the 5-7 teams, then it goes based off of APR. Never mind. That won't be Akron. Akron falls in dead last of all those 5-7 teams. So Akron will not be playing for a bowl game. So one team's complete. We got 130 some other ones still to play. And while this is the end of the regular season, we'll still have another 7 weeks of college football or something like that. We go until the 21st or something like that of January till the national championship. A lot of great content here coming out in the next couple months for sure.
Don't cry because it happened. No, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
There you go. You got it that time.
Unless you're a Clemson fan. Cry because it happened and smile because it's over.
Same with South Carolina fans.
Well, it's not over yet for either of us, so I'm not going to smile yet or cry.
Yeah. At least you guys are making a bowl game. We don't know about South Carolina's not making a bowl game.
No, they're not. They are 4-7. 4-7?
Yeah, I think they're 4-7. But before we get into all the rivalry week talk, before we get into even recapping, we had another coach fired.
Yeah, thank God they fired him in the second to last week of the year. Justin Wilcox out of Cal. What are we doing?
Yeah, I know things didn't go as well, and they were very up and down.
What did they expect out of them this year? They lost their entire running back room.
Yeah, and you start a true freshman quarterback
who wasn't terrible.
You're 6-5, chance to go 7-5. Now they play SMU. They do get SMU at home, but losing to Stanford, that's kind of ugly. But when you go and look at Cal's schedule this year, they get shut out by San Diego State. They beat Minnesota by 2 scores. They lose to Duke by 24 points, beat North Carolina, beat Louisville somehow. They lose by 21 to Stanford. You want to talk about peaks and valleys? This season had Mount Everest and Death Valley in it at the same time.
Death Valley alert. Hey, you know who did not lose to Louisville?
SMU.
Clemson.
SMU didn't either. SMU didn't either, and puts them in a spot to make the college football playoff.
Jake, I have a petition to put forth. I think you should have to come back to Clemson next year.
Why? To watch an even worse team?
No, a better team.
And we'll see about that.
We're going to get a portal quarterback. We're getting a portal quarterback. We're going to be great.
JKS out of Cal?
He's available.
I'd be shocked if he doesn't hit the portal.
Come to Clemson, buddy. Hey, you know what Dalvin likes? He likes guys with eligibility. You know what JKS has a lot of?
A lot of eligibility. A lot of eligibility. I don't really know where Cal turns with this one. This is an intriguing job. If you can get JKS to stay, it's a very appealing job. If JKS is gone, it's not nearly as appealing.
A part of me thinks the fact that they waited this long to fire Justin Wilcox, they probably met with JKS or his agent to all but be reassured that if Wilcox was fired, they'd be able to keep him.
Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt if that's why it took so long or what. Because you have a 5-star quarterback that your entire franchise, for lack of a better term, school team next year is going to be based off of, and this recruiting class and the transfer portal class that you're going to get for whoever you hire. That has to be the only reason I can think of. Why would you wait this long?
Yeah, I saw Tosh Lapoy, the defensive coordinator at Oregon, Was any of those brought up? Because he played at Cal. I think Sean Lewis makes a lot of sense here at Cal.
Sean Lewis might be deciding between Cal and Stanford.
I still think Pat Fitzgerald makes so much sense at Stanford, but I've been beating that like a dead horse.
Yeah, you were right about James Franklin, so you might go 2 for 2. You know who wasn't fired this weekend, Jake?
A lot of people who probably
Mike Norvell. Mike Norvell was not fired. Florida State's athletic director came out and reassured everyone, even after a few weeks.
Just tell us you're broke. Just tell us you're broke.
He came out and essentially said, we cannot afford to fire Mike Norvell. He has our confidence next year. You could hear. He probably put confidence in italics. Is it italics or italics?
Italics.
Italics.
Like, Florida State got off to such a hot start. You want to talk about a decline of a program?
You want to talk about Mount Everest,
Alabama?
Yeah.
You beat Alabama the first game of the year, and not only did you beat them good. You were more physical than them. You were just better than them.
All right,
but then you look and you lose to Virginia in overtime. You lose to Miami. And that game wasn't close, even though the score indicates it. They might blew them out of the water.
Speaking of
Pitt.
Sorry, go ahead. You lose to Clemson.
Stanford. You lost to Stanford. And then NC State this past weekend, the debacle that was. NC State's punter punts it. It hits off of the Florida State player and comes right back to the line of scrimmage.
That was insane.
NC State punter falls on it. And I just don't know how anyone as a Florida State fan looks at this program and goes, yeah, I have confidence in Mike Norvell leading us next year.
And the week before that, they're flipping commits. They've got people flipping to come to them. And I'm like, what kind of confidence are you getting in this program? Because
boosters have money to get the recruits. They don't have the money to pay his buyout.
Right. So it's like, he has not been a good coach. Has not. He's had one good year. One. You know who is happy about him staying though?
Everybody in the state of Florida.
Even though we struggled a few years ago and they had their national championship roster that didn't even make it to the playoffs, it took overtime and us missing a 20-yard field goal for them to beat us. So I like having Mike Norvell over at Florida State. He can stay there for as long as he wants. Speaking of,
I also think that everybody in the country is happy that Norvell staying at Florida State because this makes it easier to recruit the state of Florida, especially when Florida and Florida State are down.
It's not though, because Florida State's still pulling guys. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a decent exodus out of that program. Not that there's a ton of guys.
We got 2 weeks until signing day.
We basically exactly 2 weeks until signing day, and actually, no, we got a week and a half. It's 9 days until signing day as of we're recording this Monday night. So by the time people are listening to it, it'll be 8 days. This is the final week. And basically, here's what I think with Florida State is I think that, yes, are you delaying the inevitable? Probably. But you're also behind the 8 ball with Penn State, Florida, LSU, Auburn, Arkansas, like all these other programs.
Are you
already?
Are you Virginia Tech's the only one who's gone out there and hired somebody?
Yeah, but I think you're seeing all these other guys sign extension. You're seeing Mike Elko sign an extension. You're seeing Jeff Brom sign an extension. You're seeing all these other coaches either in talks to sign an extension or actually signing an extension. Drinkwitz signing talks to sign an extension. Lane Kiffin, where is he gonna go? And then Ole Miss may open. I bet you Ole Miss is doing their due diligence right now, who they would hire if Lane leaves. I bet you they are already doing that. And does Florida State want to enter all of that debacle, or do they wait till next year and maybe they're the quote unquote headline job?
Yeah, I mean, they would be up there. I mean, I would rather go to Florida State than Florida.
I don't disagree with that, but
they're up there in that same conversation. They're not Penn State. They're not LSU. They're Florida, Auburn, Florida State would be right in that little second tier, in my opinion.
I think Florida State could be a more intriguing job than Penn State, honestly. Because I think the ACC is an easier conference overall when you look at it. And you can recruit the state of Florida. You're recruiting your backyard. You don't have to worry about leaving the state. You go to Georgia, that's fine. You go to maybe Alabama. But I think that maybe they look at it and go, you know what? It's late in the year. All these guys are signing extensions. we're not going to be able to just go out and get our number one choice of this. Let's punt to next year. Give Norvell one more shot at it. If he can go and win 8 or 9 games, maybe he saves his job. He goes wins 5. If he struggles early, we'll just can him.
And let's talk about Lane Kiffin, because regardless of what you think about the situation in the NCAA schedule and all that different stuff with the transfer portal and the signing period and the playoff and yada yada yada, I don't give a crap about any of that stuff, because what Lane Kiffin is doing, even though it's his agent doing most of the work, he's allowing it to happen. What he's doing to those kids that are on that Ole Miss roster right now is freaking terrible. It's awful. Lane Kiffin cares about.
He's holding a whole program hostage right now.
Right.
And he's holding 3 programs hostage right now.
And you think, but I don't care about LSU and Florida. I don't care. I care about the kids that are at Ole Miss right now who signed to play for him to come to Ole Miss, are in a playoff hunt, and he's over there playing pity pat with all these different athletic directors because he thinks it's cute. Regardless of the outcome, even if he stays, this has been such a huge distraction, Jake. It's pissing me off. And I
have no idea why he is actively looking to leave at this exact moment when he has the best Ole Miss team in the history of their program.
And he's on pace to be 11-1. He's too narcissistic to freaking care about the kids that are on his freaking team. This is terrible. This is absolutely awful, selfish, not funny. It's terrible. It really is.
Lane Kiffin is on pace to have Oxford host a playoff game. Do you realize how electric that environment would be for Ole Miss to host a playoff game as a
and
6 seed?
The freaking fans can't even enjoy it because they're over on pins and needles waiting for this decision that's not going to come until at least Saturday.
Wait until Ole Miss is hosting Virginia or SMU. Probably we'll call it the ACC team. Call it the Friday night game. I doubt they would get Friday. They'd probably get the noon kick, if I'm being honest. That's probably not a big enough game between everything. They'd probably get the noon or the 3:30 kick. But still, imagine how electric Oxford would be. They'd be going nuts. They'd be tailgating the night before the game. Yeah. And they'd be so liquored up and ready to go. Oxford and their 60,000. I don't think Ole Miss Stadium holds, 80, 90. I'm pretty sure holds like 60,000. Would be going nuts. Absolutely nuts. And the fun fact, the stadium holds 68,138. That's the record attendance, by the way, which was earlier this year against Florida.
But the stadium's capacity is listed at 64,000.
Yes, but they'll try to pack 70 in that thing. That would be an incredible environment. And I just don't understand the intrigue to go to Florida, to go to LSU. Like, what is not at Ole Miss right now that you can't have?
Nothing. LSU is throwing him a $98 million contract. You can't tell me he's not getting a good contract offer from Ole Miss. This is bullcrap. And everyone's
the one weird thing about the state of Mississippi. The one weird thing about the state of Mississippi is they can only offer 4-year contracts.
But Jake, everybody's on freaking SportsCenter or Game Day, whatever, crying over Lane Kiffin. This college football schedule is just terrible. You can carry, he has to do this. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't, because it's greedy. He's getting offered so much money to stay at Ole Miss, and it's just out of greed. He's putting this season at the best season in Ole Miss history. The best season in Ole Miss history, Jake, and he's making it about himself.
One of the funny things to me is that I'm not like Lane Kiffin's not a top 5 coach in college football. Like,
no, what has he done outside of this year? What has he done?
Well, so he has won. He's won 10 games 4 different times with Ole Miss. That's pretty solid. That is solid, but that is not like top 5 coach.
Does that garner Kirby Smart money?
That's not Kirby Smart. That's not Ryan Day. That's not Dabo Sweeney. That's not these guys who won national championships. Like, he has yet to ever play for an SEC championship. He has yet to ever play.
And he won't this year
playoff. Either. No, they won't make the SEC playoff, SEC championships. Too many tiebreakers, and they're not going to get there. But they have a chance to host a playoff game. You have your best chance to ever make a run in the playoff. Like, I can't imagine abandoning a program that has national championship hopes and expectations for where they're at to go to one of 2 programs that are in the dumps right now.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm sick of talking about this man. I don't even want to call him a man. What he's doing right now is childish. It's not cute, Lane.
Well, let's talk about this past weekend of slates then.
Yeah,
let's talk about this past weekend. So I don't want to spend a ton of time here because I'll be honest, the slate from this past weekend, there wasn't a ton of action. There was a couple things, but there wasn't a ton of, I would say, wow moments and things that really had long-term implications here. So first one, though, Oregon eliminates USC. Oregon took it to USC. Mekhi Lemon is incredible.
Yes,
USC,
he is.
Has some dudes, but Oregon overall was just better. And Kenyon Sadiq is a monster.
But the thing is, Jake, USC is right there. They're right there at the doorstep. This is the closest they've been under Lane Kiffin. I know they were 10-2 his first year there.
I mean, Lincoln Riley.
Thank you. Sorry. He's rent free in my head right now. Mekhi Lemon has another year. He's phenomenal. Jaden Maiava, yes, he threw 2 picks in that game. He also threw for over 300 yards. He had a really good game. They could not run the football against Oregon. That was the biggest issue. I think
Mekhi Lemon's a junior though, so he's probably going to go pro. For being honest,
but that's not guaranteed in this day and age because now you can pay these guys and convince them to come back for.
But he's already got over 1,000 yards. It's gonna be hard to convince him to come back.
That's true. So he might. Kyron Hudson's still there. Not Kyron Hudson. Who's the one that stayed?
Jacoby Lane is going to go.
Jacoby Lane. Thank you.
Jacoby Lane might come back. He might come back actually.
So it's not far-fetched to think they might have their guys come back. But anyway, Lane Kiffin's right. Oh, my God, I did it again. Lincoln Riley is right there. This USC team, they hung in there. I mean, they just couldn't take all the big blows from Oregon. And shout out to Oregon. DeCarry Moore is hurt. They don't care. Gary Bryant Jr. is hurt. They don't care. I got Kenyon.
They haven't had Evan Stewart all year either.
Right. I've got Kenyon Sadiq. You know what? Speaking of Evan Stewart, will he be able to come back at some point?
I saw that there's a chance that he could play in the playoffs.
That would be insane. But Noah Whittington and Kenyon Sadiq said, no Moore, no Bryant, no problem. 104 yards from Whittington. He was running like a man in that game. And then Davidson also added 50. But then Kenyon Sadiq was the story. He was a freak. He had 6 catches, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns, and was out athleting all those guys. He said, I'm better than you. You're not going to be able to stop me. And I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. And I think they also had their backup tight end score a touchdown in that game, if I remember correctly.
One of the things about USC is we talked about for the last couple of years that, okay, USC's defense starting to get better. This one, it felt like they lost a step. They couldn't generate pressure. They got no tackles behind. Yeah, they lost in the trenches. You couldn't get pressure when Dante Moore was, going back to pass, and you could not stop the running backs at the line of scrimmage, or even like they had 2 tackles for loss the whole day. You had 74 total tackles, and you had 2 tackles for loss. You only defended 1 pass. Like the defense felt like it took a step back from where it was. And I know I love to dunk on Lincoln Riley as well, but D'Anton Lynn is a significantly better defensive coordinator than Alex Grinch. He is actually a successful defensive coordinator, and USC's defense has gotten better. They've won some really ugly games this year because of the defense.
Yes.
They beat Nebraska because of their defense, not because the offense was good. Jaden Maiava was like 9 of 23 against Nebraska. He was terrible, but USC's defense stepped up. It just felt like the defense here got exposed. Their weaknesses were exposed. And
they also stymied Michigan. And you want to talk about physicality? Like we thought, I mean, you and I spoke about this back in October. We thought that USC had finally developed that Big Ten mindset of physicality, being able to win in the trenches because of that game alone. And
yeah, I mean, you go back and look at that. Michigan ran 31 times for 109 yards, 3.5 yards per carry. Jordan Marshall, 4.9 yards per carry. Justice Haynes, 5.1. Like, those aren't any stellar, like, when you talk about that they had only 109 yards rushing, like, that's not a great day for Michigan running the ball. But then you go and look at, Oregon this week rushing for well over 150 that between the 2 running backs alone. And then De'Ara Hill just added another 28 for his own. Like, if you can't win the trenches against Oregon this year, like their running game is going to take them places. If they play anybody similar to USC in the playoff, like they're going to win that first game.
Right, and that's going to give them time to be able to get their receivers healthy. Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of line of scrimmage controlling, you know who else controlled the line of scrimmage this weekend? Freaking Pitt Panthers.
Yes, they did.
You want to talk about a team that's built to beat Georgia Tech? They were built in a lab to beat Georgia Tech. And you know what? Georgia Tech, I think, was built in a lab to lose to a team like Pitt. A team that can throw the ball over the field, stop the run, and give up big chunks in the pass game and still be okay. And Pitt tried to give this game away over.
Pitt was up 28-0, and it just felt like there was a point where I'm like, is Pitt going to give it away? Like, is Pitt going to give it away? Georgia Tech claws back. Haynes King claws back in. They make it 28-14 here before halftime. Like, can Pitt do something? Can Pitt, come back here and make it 28-21 here in the third quarter? Like, are we going to watch similar to this A&M game? No. And then, 100-yard interception return changes the game. All of a sudden it's 35-14 entering the fourth quarter. Pitt does get it down to a 7-point, or Georgia Tech gets down to a 7-point game here, about 5 minutes left in the game. But Pitt marches down the field, scores a touchdown, puts the game away, keeps their playoff hopes alive, weirdly enough.
Yeah, and you know what? You know why Pitt won this game? They held Georgia Tech to 121 yards rushing. Their leading rusher was Haynes King, 20 rushes for 76 yards. 20 rushes for 76 yards. That's how you get your quarterback killed.
Talk about Pitt's rushing game, though.
Yeah. It wasn't even – Desmond Reed hasn't even been playing this year. So they turned to Turner. I believe it's Jakarian. They call him Boosie. Boosie Turner. Buddy, he was Boosie Badass this weekend. 20 rushes for 186 yards. He iced the game.
Are you looking – I'm looking at 21 for 201.
Okay, so I might be wrong. I'm looking at the CBS stats, and it's showing 20 for 186. He also added 6 catches for 91 yards. So he was just all over the place. Wait, who am I looking at?
That's Kenny Johnson.
Boosie Turner iced the game. So Georgia Tech had all the momentum. They had just made it a one-score game, and Pitt needed to try to keep the ball alive, to keep it out of Georgia Tech's hands. And what does Turner do? He takes it 56 yards to the crib. Game over. That was beautiful. That was freaking beautiful. And if you don't have Heinschel's negative 29 yards rushing, Pitt ran for over 200 yards easy.
Can we talk about Jamal Haynes being a little bit of a disappointment this year?
Well, they only gave him the ball 10 times, and he rushed for almost 4 yards a carry.
This year he has 109 rushes for 493 yards and 5 touchdowns. And spoiler, 107 came against Temple and 92 came against Gardner-Webb. So there's 200 of his 500 yards.
Wow.
And he's played in every game. It's just, I feel like it's the Haynes King show. And if Haynes King can't do it, then they're not going to get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Haynes King's stats. Haynes King is running the ball 20 times this game. 20 times is how many times he ran it this year. Haynes King has 168 rushing attempts. That's more than Jamal Haynes. Now, granted, he has 883 rushing yards, so he's clearly been effective on the ground. But
there's too many Hayneses.
I feel like you're running him too much. Especially in some of these games that became blowouts. Like, I don't feel like you need to rush him, Asmate 21 times, 25 times against Clemson. Granted, they won that game, but I feel like
they won because he rushed him 25 times because Jamal Haynes couldn't do anything.
Yeah. It seems like when they I'm looking at it right now, anything that's close, any game's close, they end up rushing him more than 18 times a game. And it feels like that Brent Key looks at it and goes, all right, when in doubt, we turn to Haynes King. When in doubt, we turn to Haynes King. I guess that poses a question about the long-term longevity for Brent Key. Like, is he going to be able to survive without Haynes King?
We're going to find out next year
without a quarterback that can run the ball 20 times a game effectively, nonetheless.
If they can keep what's the backup quarterback's name? Oh, it's slipping my head.
I know who you're talking about because they started him the second game of the year when Haynes King was injured.
But he's an excellent passer, and like we're going to find out what Georgia Tech's made of next year and what this new Georgia Tech.
Philo.
Yes, Aaron Philo. because this dude can actually sling the rock. So what does that Georgia Tech pass catching, core look like? I don't know. Do you keep Malik Rutherfordton? I don't know how much time he's got left. What year he is? Eric Rivers.
Rutherford's a senior.
Rutherford's a senior, so he's going.
Who knows with eligibility? There's always guys that find a year somehow.
You could sue. You could just sue. That's all you got to do nowadays.
If you just sue and get a temporary restraining order, you could probably find a way to stay just because.
You know what? I also want to sue Notre Dame right now because they lost their first two games of the year, and then they just played cupcakes. But I take that back a little bit. They pounded USC. They pounded Syracuse 70 to what? 70 to 3?
I think it was 70 to 7.
That's abuse.
It was 49-0, like 5 seconds into the second quarter. They had 7 touchdowns in the first 15 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah,
do you know how absurd that is to have that many touchdowns that fast? Like, you're sometimes lucky to get 2 possessions in the first quarter, and they scored 7 times. 7 times.
Yeah,
I don't think people realize how ridiculous it is to score that many times. And Jeremiah Love is, I'm ready to start saying he's the best player in college football.
He needs to be in the conversation. Hey, Jake, how many rushes did Jeremiah Love have in this game?
I put this out today. He had 8 for 171
and 3
touchdowns. 8 carries for 171. Actually, hilarious. We need to read through the stat chart because it's actually
before we do that. If I would have told you CJ Carr goes 5 for 9 for 49 yards, what would you say happened in this game?
Oh, I would assume they would have lost.
Yeah, or they ran the ball 45 times.
Okay, so it was 21-0 before Notre Dame took an offensive snap.
What?
Yes.
What?
It was 21-0 before Notre Dame took an offensive snap because it was a pick six. On the first drive, and then a punt return, and then a pick 6, and then they punted, and then Notre Dame ran 2 plays for 59 yards and scored a touchdown. Syracuse punted again on 3 plays. Notre Dame went 3 plays, 69 yards and a touchdown. Syracuse punted. And then
well, before I don't want you to skip over this. They stopped Notre Dame on their first play for no gain.
That is actually pretty crazy. And then on Notre Dame's third offensive possession, they scored 4 seconds into the second quarter to make it my bad. It was 42-0. They didn't get to 49 until the 7-minute mark.
You over here padding stats.
My bad. It was 42-0, 6 seconds into the second quarter. Again, 6 touchdowns in the first 15 minutes is a truly absurd stat. I would not want to play Notre Dame right now. I know this is Syracuse, and Syracuse, they hurt themselves a lot.
But Jake,
6s. But Notre Dame is so good.
And I know I just made the comment about them playing cupcakes, but you can't control who you play. You can control how you play against them. And the fact that they're able to get up for a game like Syracuse where they should struggle, or excuse me, they should win, and it's late in the year, and there's a lot on the line because they got to win out. I mean, they lose to Miami by 3. They lose to Texas A&M by 1. They then turn around, win by 26 against Purdue, win by 43 against Arkansas, win by 21 against Boise State, win by 29 against NC State, win by 10 against USC, which is a ranked win. They were 20th at the time. Win by 15 against Boston College. There's your struggle game. Every team's going to have it. Win by 39 against Navy. A lot against Pitt. That's 37-15 is blowing my 22 points. And then win by 63 against Syracuse. This is 2018 Clemson win margin numbers right here. And then you got to imagine that they're going to empty the club against Stanford. And honestly,
they're going to go all out because they know they have to put on a show to make sure that they have a spot.
That's what I'm
the final game of the year.
You can leave no doubt because you don't have an opportunity to play in a conference championship to leave that last lingering effect in the committee's mind. So the committee's mind's last thought has to be what you did to Syracuse, what you did to Stanford.
Mm-hmm. And I will say that no matter who you play, you just beat a Power 4 team 70-7.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
You aren't talking about beating Eastern Illinois or Charlotte or a MAC program, Miami, Ohio, or something like that. Like, you beat a Power 4 program. Granted, they're not great this year, but you beat a Power 4 program and dropped 70 on them. That's going to leave an impression. Before we move on real quick, there's one game I guess I forgot to put on here was the absolute whatever this was between Missouri and Oklahoma where nobody moved the ball at all, but Oklahoma scored points.
When Oklahoma busted up with a 75-yard touchdown to Isaiah Centega, man, you just felt the entire game swing. Both defenses played phenomenally. Bo Perbula, I was shocked at how healthy he looked. Shocked. Hats off to him. Played his nuts off. But in a game where it was strength versus strength and weakness versus weakness, the strength of Oklahoma was just that much better. Their defense was phenomenal. And Missouri pissed down their leg. They'd get in the red zone and they would miss a field goal. They'd get in the red zone, they'd go for a fourth down. They'd get in the red zone and then they didn't know what to do. Eli Drinkowitz was all in his head anytime they got an opportunity to score. And rightfully so, this team was struggling and points were at a premium. Getting in scoring range was extremely difficult in this game. So it's like, well, I have an opportunity to score a touchdown. I might as well go for it. And the play before, they kick a field goal, they make it. They get down there again, it's fourth down, and they get stopped by Oklahoma. So it was just defensive masterclass.
If Oklahoma gets into a shootout in the playoff, I don't think they can win.
No. Well, can they get in a shootout? Can somebody score enough points on them?
I guess if somebody can get into the 30s on them.
Yeah.
If somebody can get into the upper 20s, low 30s, I'm not confident in John Mateer to be able to do that. He has not looked great at times this year, and I'm just not confident enough in him to say that they could win a shootout.
The most damning stat on John Mateer is this year, his average air yards per attempt, is 6 yards.
Yeah, they're not throwing downfield. They're throwing
he can't.
short.
So
the question is, does he get healthy? Assuming they beat LSU this weekend, Oklahoma is in. I think that I feel confident saying that if they beat LSU this weekend, they're in because they're going to be ahead of Alabama. They're going to be 8-2. They have a win over Michigan, which that wins continue to look better and better. And right now they're ranked 8th. I don't see any teams jumping ahead of them that are behind them. Like even if Alabama wins the SEC championship, I don't know how you all of a sudden jump them ahead of Oklahoma, although they probably would just because SEC bias. And anybody else behind them, like I don't know how some of these programs can jump Oklahoma if Oklahoma wins out. I think they have enough good wins on their schedule. Oklahoma has done enough.
Oklahoma's in. Yeah.
When you talk about their only losses are Texas and Ole Miss, they beat Tennessee, they beat Alabama, they beat Missouri, you beat Auburn, you beat Michigan. Like there's enough good wins on their schedule that a 10-2 Oklahoma team is in the playoff.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into rivalry week because we got a lot to cover. Fun fact, spoiler alert, we're picking 20 games this week instead of 10 because it's rivalry week. But we're going to fly through a lot of them because I'll be honest, there's plenty of people who don't care about a lot of those games. But you know what? We do.
We all care.
We love rivalry.
Yep.
We love rivalry week. All right. Let's kick it off. You want to start with the Friday game or you want to jump straight into Saturday?
Let's start with Friday. Let's go in order.
All right. Friday. A&M and Texas. I believe they play on Friday. I'm pretty sure
they do.
On Friday. All right. A&M and Texas. A&M is in the playoff. 11-0. Doesn't really matter what happens in this game, but there is definitely a pride factor in this. Actually, the 3 games we're talking about, I think each one has a team that's in. One game there might be a little bit, might not.
Yeah. There's one team that's in. There's one team that could get in.
Yes. Yes, actually, that's with all 3 of them. There's one team that's likely to be in no matter the result, and there's one team that needs to win in order to give themselves a shot.
I wouldn't
Texas
say
A&M
I'd say a lock. I'd say all the away teams are locks.
Yeah,
Georgia, A&M, and Ohio State are all locks in my opinion.
We'll get to Georgia here in a second. I think there's a way that they don't, but A&M, I think, is I don't think. I know they're a lock. They're 11-0. They have enough good wins. They have that win over Notre Dame. You continue to look better and better and better. An 11-0 team right now is not not going to miss it. Weird thing is, if Texas A&M loses, they might not make the SEC championship game. If they win, they're definitely making the SEC championship game. They're the only undefeated SEC program in conference and also out of conference. Texas, you want to talk about up and down years? I don't even know what to make of Texas anymore. What do you make of Texas, and what kind of program do you think we're going to see this weekend?
I think we're going to see the Texas we've seen all year, because if you think about it, you go back just a couple of weeks when Texas played Georgia, so a formidable defense, a formidable opponent. They got their doors beaten in. They were only able to manufacture 10 points. They looked poor. Now, against Vanderbilt, they dropped 34. Against Mississippi State, they dropped however many points. They played oh my gosh, Arkansas this weekend.
Yeah. Arkansas got the worst defense in the SEC, though.
Right. But Arkansas was able to move the ball very well.
Arkansas did score
Texas
points.
Defense.
And they did. They had almost 500 yards of offense. Actually, I think they did have just over 500 yards of offense.
Now,
they had 512.
And the only thing that gives you any sort of hope as a Texas fan, in my opinion, besides this being a rivalry game, because, I mean, you know, the tired mantra of you got to throw all the record books out the window. Texas A&M is coming off of their worst game all year against South Carolina. The worst half, excuse me. Statistically, it was
just remember they played like Charlotte or Samford.
They played Samford last week. They played
one of those other.
But they are coming off of one of their worst games of the year against South Carolina. You could argue that maybe Auburn was a worse game, 16-10. Offensively, it was definitely a worse game. I don't think that matters. Texas A&M is going to be up for this game. It's going to be in Austin. Don't care. That's a wine and cheese crowd. Not worried about them. I think Texas A&M is about to blow the doors off of Texas. I think we're going to find out who Texas really is this year, and it's. I think it's going to be a bludgeoning.
So, what have we talked about with Marcel Reed all year? That what he does really well.
He runs the football and he makes big play passes.
That second one's right where I'm going. That his average completion all the time, we'll see it, and it's 18 yards, 19 yards, 20 yards. You're talking about moving the sticks a significant distance. You want to know what Texas is not good at?
Stopping the long pass.
They rank 110th in passes 10 yards or further.
Jake, you will talk about yards per completion. You know how many what Marcel Reed's average yards per completion is?
It's like 19 yards or something like that, isn't it?
14.6 this year.
Yeah.
That is absurd. And honestly, this isn't an anomaly. His freshman year, 17.8. His sophomore year, 12.7. Big dip. And then back up to 14.6. Dude is addicted to deep passes. Anyway,
when you talk about 20-yard passes, so 20 yards or more, Texas ranks 98th. They have allowed 37 of them this year. Now, Texas is actually, as you get further, Texas gets a lot better. You know, when you talk about 30-yard passes, they've only allowed 11, and that's actually towards the upper half. But
Jake,
37 passes,
let's talk their season,
20 yards or further.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. 105 passes of 10 yards or further, 37 passes of 20 yards or longer. This just screams Marcel Reed might go 55%, but he's also going to throw 380 yards on 18 completions.
Yeah. Which is, it's just disgusting. But you talk about Texas this year. Ohio State, tough game. San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston. Florida, they lose. And that's also a game. Oklahoma, they win, and don't get it twisted. That was because of their defense. Kentucky, they win in overtime, 16-3. Mississippi State, they win in overtime, 45-38. Vanderbilt, they tried to blow it as best they could, 34-31, but they still won it. Georgia put the belt to their ass, 35-10. They play Arkansas and give up 37 points. This Texas defense is what we've all been talking about all year. They've given up over 20 points 3 times this year. Florida, Mississippi State, 4 times. Vanderbilt, and Arkansas.
This Texas defense has really regressed as the season has gone on.
But every team that has a pulse offensively has been able to move the ball. Sans Ohio State, and you can chalk that up for whatever reason.
I'm gonna kind of throw that one out because Julian Saint making his first start. You got a lot of it was both teams were playing a chess match there, trying to kind of figure each other out. But
yeah,
I think if they played now, you played now, I think that's a very different game. But
yeah, Texas would kill them.
I think, I think this game is going to look similar to that Georgia game.
Yes.
I don't think A&M is going to kick an onside kick, but A&M's got a good defense. I wouldn't put it past them, but I think I think they're going to be expecting it this time. A&M's got a good defense, but they've got a way more explosive offense. Now, it's definitely a little bit more hit or miss because you've taken your shots, but they're going to take their shots. They're going to connect on shots. They have good receivers. Guys like Casey Concepcion are going to make plays. Ruben Owens, I just feel good about A&M winning this game and winning comfortably.
Yeah, you should. It's going to be a double-digit win.
I feel good about A&M winning comfortably because of the explosiveness of that offense, and I think their defense is on par with some of these other good defenses that have made Arch Manning struggle. I do think Arch Manning's gotten a little bit better over the course of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think I still am not sure that he's the top half of the SEC quarterback right now.
I think if anything, he just entered the top half. Because can you name 8 quarterbacks? How many teams in the SEC? 18, 17?
16.
16. Can you name 8 quarterbacks better than Arch Manning in the SEC? Marshall Reed. Ty Simpson.
Yeah. Gunnar Stockton's better. Joey Aguilar, I think, is better.
Joey Aguilar, yeah, I agree.
Trinidad Chambliss.
Yep.
DJ Lagway would be is a kind of weird one. Same with Garrett Nussmeier, kind of a weird one. John Mateer, I think John Mateer is a better quarterback right now because I think his ability to run the ball.
Yeah. I'm still at 5.
Would you call it Bo Perbula?
Yeah, he's been more consistent. I'll give you 6.
Jacob Pavia.
Oh, yeah, there's 7. So 7 and maybe 8.
He's right there in that probably 7 to 9 range.
We're probably forgetting somebody that's we're gonna look like.
I know somebody in the comments is gonna be screaming.
Martin Van Buren, backup for LSU. Sorry.
Yeah, somebody's gonna be screaming and be like, Taylor Green is better. No, I'm sorry.
Wow.
He might
be better. I'll give you.
Lenora Sellers is a weird one in there too. Like Lenora Sellers, yeah.
Actually, I'm not. No Lenora slander for me this week. Yes.
Okay. Let's jump over to Georgia Tech, Georgia. This game last year, if you remember, went 8 overtimes.
Yeah, Georgia Tech blew this game. They should have won it last year.
We all lost a year off our life trying to watch these teams do 2-point conversions, and neither of them could get it. It was actually pitiful watching these teams attempt 2-point conversions. This game is in Atlanta, but it's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's really dumb that it is not played on campus at Georgia Tech. I really think it should be.
Most exciting year they've had in a very long time over there in Atlanta, and they want to go play in a neutral site. Shame on you.
So one thing, Georgia Tech is out of the playoff race. I will confirm that because they have 2 losses in conference. There's not enough variables for them to make the ACC championship.
Are you sure?
Positive. Okay,
I believe you.
Let me just run the.
They've lost to NC State. They've lost to
Duke is ahead of them.
Duke,
and also Pitt and Miami are both ahead, and they play each other.
Oh, they beat Duke. So they've lost to NC State. They've lost to Pitt. They've lost 3 games, correct? Or is it 2?
The most they've lost 2 in conference. The most they're 9-2. The most chaos scenario you can get has Duke and Virginia as 1 and 2, Miami at 3, Georgia Tech at 4.
Because if Virginia loses, Miami's in, correct?
No, because I have Virginia Tech winning here, and there's this whole thing about based off of conference opponent win percentage.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe in theory somebody.
The ACC is last year's Big 12.
I can see, I can get Georgia Tech up to 3rd based off of these, but the tiebreaker between Miami and Georgia Tech is common record for conference opponents, where Miami went 4-0 and Georgia Tech went 2-2.
The problem is with Georgia Tech though is they had
Wait, I take that back. Here's the situation how Georgia Tech can get in.
yes.
Cal beats SMU. Wake
Okay.
beats Duke. NC State beats North Carolina. Miami beats Pitt. Boston College beats Syracuse. And Virginia Tech beats Virginia.
There's
That is
two
the
very difficult ones.
exact situation that has to happen.
Cal and SMU, and then Virginia Tech are the wild cards. That's what's going to cause it not to happen.
But and then the NC State North Carolina game will actually have a factor because it's going to depend on some win percentage because not everybody played both of them. So it's going to depend on that one as well, which is kind of funny.
This is disgusting.
But this game, Georgia is coming in here. I think Georgia is a lock no matter the outcome of this game. But I think depending on the outcome, how far does Georgia fall if they lose? And I think it depends how they would lose. If you talk about them losing a nail biter, losing in overtime, losing by 3 points, I don't see a way where they aren't in the top 7, I'll say. If Georgia Tech takes it to them somehow and wins by 10 points, I think Georgia could fall to that 8-9 range, and all of a sudden you're in danger of a Big 12 team swooping in, or just depending on the playoff situation with next week's games.
There's 2 key statistics that I want to tell you why that Georgia Tech has 0 chance this weekend.
What?
Georgia Tech's total defensive rank is 106. They're a huge liability on the defensive side of the ball. And they haven't been able to be good enough offensively to overcome it every single week. Which, how could you? I mean, if your game plan is when in doubt, run Haynes King 35 times, you're going to struggle. The second key stat on why Georgia Tech has no shot, in my opinion, is Georgia has the 5th ranked rush defense. If Georgia Tech cannot run the football in this game, which there's nothing saying that they won't be, I mean, that they can't. Just because that Georgia ranks 5th in the country in rush defense doesn't mean anything. You can scheme it. Maybe they struggle. Maybe there's a matchup that we're not looking at. But overall, I think if Georgia's able to stop the run and put up 24 points, it's going to be a wrap. It's going to be a wrap.
Yeah. To me, like you said, this is going to come down to the rushing game. I'm looking it up right now because I'm curious what Georgia's rushing defense ranked last year when they played. So Georgia's rush defense ranked
was awful
in the country. No, it ranked 5th.
Was it 5th last year?
Wait, hold on.
That's this year. Last year they were in the 100s.
They were 36. They had 129 yards a game.
Okay.
36. Okay. So they're still solid. Georgia Tech ran for 260 yards on them last year. And Haynes King was 26 of 36. Now, they had Eric Singleton Jr. last year. Eric Singleton Jr. is at Auburn this year.
But you know who they have this year, too? Isaiah Canyon, who's been one of the best freaking stories in the ACC this year. He is a phenomenal receiver. Had 2 touchdowns against Pitt last week. One of the only reasons they're in the game is because of him.
Do you want to know who Georgia's leading receiver was last year?
Oscar Delp.
Cash Jones.
Their running back?
4 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown.
Hell yeah. Shut up. Wait.
Is...
Oh, in the game. I like in that game. Year.
No. In that game.
Oh, I was about to vomit everywhere again.
Arian Smith had 2 catches for 14 yards and probably about 5 drops in that game because I do remember him dropping a couple passes. So you also don't have Carson Beck. You have Gunnar Stockton back there. But Carson Beck actually had one of his best games of the year last year. He had 297 yards and 5 touchdowns last year. He had one of his best games after starting pretty bad. Georgia couldn't run the ball last year. Could not run the ball.
Yeah.
And
101st in the country last year.
To me, Georgia Tech has got to stop the running game again. Have Gunnar Stockton beat you with his arm. Now, Gunnar Stockton has proven he can beat teams with his arm. He's proven it this year that he can do that. We've seen him make throws, but we've also seen times where the throws are inaccurate. They're not on time. The routes aren't run correctly, but he also has Zachariah Branch. He's got some talent, a receiver this year. Nate Frazier, I think, needs to have a big game. And I mean, this is the Haynes King leave it all on the line game. They realistically don't have a shot, but like this might be his last game in college football. Like there's a chance that, he could opt out of the bowl game. They're probably not going to play in the ACC championship game unless there's some really weird situations. So this is the lay it all on the line. I expect Haynes King, we talked about it with him running the ball. He's going to run this ball 23 times this game. He's going to run it 24 times. Like he is going to have his body on the line. Jamal Haynes is going to have like 7 carries. He probably should get more, but he's going to get like 7 carries. And Haynes King is going to have 23, 24, 25. That they're just going to feed it to him and let him go and let him get 5-6 yards to carry. Has Georgia faced a rushing quarterback like this as dynamic? I don't want to say Haynes King is dynamic.
Joey Aguilar. No, not that dynamic. No.
Haynes King's not dynamic. He is like a fullback. You know who Haynes King reminds me of?
Who?
I think Haynes King is just JT Barrett in a Georgia Tech uniform.
But can run. JT Barrett wasn't that fast. Haynes King is fast.
JT Barrett was not fast, but JT Barrett was a fullback that ran the ball, like fullback that threw the ball, honestly. You go look at his college stats, JT Barrett finished with 3,000 yards rushing.
Jake, holy crap. I didn't realize he ran that much.
He had 3,000 yards rushing and 43 touchdowns as a runner.
I want to tell you this. Zachariah Branch is this year's leading receiver for Georgia. He's got 63 catches for 638 yards. You know who's second?
Cash Jones.
No, Cash Jones is not even on the list. He hasn't caught a pass this year. Colby Young. Colby Young is second at 20. Oh, Cash Jones is on the list. Excuse me. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. He's 7th on the team. 16 catches, 129 yards. So Zachariah Branch, again, 63 catches, 638 yards. Second on the team is Colby Young. 23 catches for 336 yards. No one else on the team has 20 catches besides those two. Zachariah Branch has 63 catches. Excuse me. Dylan Bell has 21 catches. Pardon me, Dylan.
Not great. Not great when they're not spreading it around a ton.
Well, what that tells me is Zachariah Branch goes down. There goes the passing game.
Or if you can shut him down, like if you can limit his targets and take away him. I'm not confident in Texas A&M. I'm not confident Georgia Tech will be able to do that because Pitt just threw all over him. Pitt was able to get everything on him. But rivalry game, you never know what you're going to get. They're going to be up for this game. Georgia Tech knows what's on the line. They have a chance to spoil Georgia's season. There's an outside chance they could make the ACC championship game. Haynes King has a chance to leave a legacy here if he can beat Georgia, which they haven't done in a while.
I was going to say this. This might be dumb, and maybe I'm being a little too hyperbolic here, but isn't it a little hypocritical that if Georgia loses this game, they will probably still make the college football playoff? But if Georgia Tech wins this game, they have no shot?
No, Georgia Tech, I mean, they just got blown out by Pitt.
Because wouldn't that be an all? Yeah, that's true. So I'm diving too deep into SEC hate.
Yeah, little too much.
Yeah,
I like Georgia Tech a lot. Georgia Tech blew their chance though. They needed to beat Pitt. They've lost. Georgia Tech should have been undefeated if you really want to be honest. They lost to NC State. You don't lose to NC State, and we're sitting here talking about Georgia Tech, being a playoff contender if they beat Georgia. But instead, you lost to NC State, and you also only beat Boston College by 2 points, which is kind of embarrassing, for being honest.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing. Couldn't imagine.
The game. It's the nickname for the rivalry.
The game. What's that?
Ohio State versus Michigan. Number 1 versus whatever Michigan is. 14, 13, 15, something like that. Whatever
he knows, folks.
I don't know. Everybody's got them ranked different. I haven't looked at the rankings. I look at this game, and there is one significant key to this game, and it's on the Ohio State side.
Ryan Day.
Jeremiah Smith / Carnell Tate. Do they play? How healthy are they?
Yes. That is, yeah. I wasn't being hyper. I wasn't trying to be silly with the Ryan Day quote.
But
yeah,
how healthy are they? Because
Jeremiah Smith is going to play. I don't care. And if he's on one leg, if he's on one leg, he's still one of the best players in the field.
Yeah, I saw something today where 80% Jeremiah Smith is probably better than almost every receiver in the country anyways.
Yeah. And Michigan, you want to talk about if it matters if those two play? First off, you can live without Carnell Tate. You will be okay. If you miss both of them, then it's going to be tough. Michigan's 52nd in the country in pass defense. So those big boys are going to eat. They're going to eat in this matchup. If Carnell Tate's out, which there are rumblings that he could be more injured than people are leading on, do you think he plays, Jake? If I put a gun to your head right now and you had to answer yes or no, what would you say?
I will say yes. I think you see a heavy rotation of him out, though. I don't think you see him play. Let's say they have 50 offensive snaps, or they've been averaging like 55 offensive snaps. I think we'll say they get to 60 offensive snaps. I think he would play 30 to 35 of them. I think you would see a heavy rotation of him out. I think you would see a lot of Mylan Graham come in, who's the fourth wide receiver, or Bryson Rogers. I think you'd see a heavy rotation for Carnell Tate out, and it might tip the key a little bit. But I think you would see Carnell Tate more on those passing downs of we're throwing the ball and we need to find it. If we're running the ball, like there's a good chance that Carnell Tate might not be playing because it's just one more time that you have to then, make, you're getting tackled basically. You're trying to block somebody, and there's just another risk of injury.
I got an even crazier take. This is the Brandon Ennis legacy game.
I've said that the last 2 weeks, and he has like 7 catches for like 40 yards the last 2 weeks.
Legacy game this week. Wouldn't that be beautiful for some random person? I mean, not that Brandon Ennis is random, but wouldn't it be like just beautiful if like a Brandon Ennis or Bryson Rogers or somebody like David Adolph deep in the cuts of the roster be the ones who win this game for y'all?
The Chris Olave legacy game was 2018 when Dwayne Haskins started.
I don't want to hear about that game.
The 2018 Ohio State versus Michigan game was.
I thought you were talking about Clemson.
No, 2018 Ohio State versus Michigan was the Chris Olave legacy game. Chris Olave was a true freshman, had 2 touchdowns and blocked a punt in that game.
You know what? Jeremiah Smith needs 98 yards to get to 1,000. Does he do it?
I mean, I think they're going to heavily feed him. If he can play, he'll play a lot. Not that the Big Ten championship won't matter, but I think you can sacrifice losing a little bit there compared to Michigan. Like, there's a stigma right now. There's a stigma around it.
You're playing the second team in the country. The furthest you'll fall is to 4, if they're being honest with themselves. The committee, that being they.
If we're being honest, you'll at worst fall to 4. And there's a stigma around beating Michigan right now. And I think you would rather get this one than the next one, if we're being honest.
And if you want to talk about, I mean, I don't want to take away too much from the game because we have a lot to talk about next week. This might be the first time we see starters get sat in a conference championship game. If Indiana wins this week and if y'all win this week, this might be the first time we actually see a conference championship game get pushed to the side.
I think you'll see some load management for sure.
Yeah. But in this game, Jake, Bryce Underwood has to have pressure on him. And if you want to talk about anything that Ohio State has done better than last year's team, that's put pressure on the quarterback. Mm-hmm. And you know why? They have a guy named Arnell Reese, who's just one of the most phenomenal pass rushers in the country. I don't care who else is on that freaking defense. As long as y'all have him.
Well, Caleb Downs helps too.
Well, yes, that does help. But Arnell Reese is a phenomenal pass rusher. Michigan doesn't have anybody that can block him consistently. And Bryce Underwood has been very mediocre when he's been under pressure. You go back to the Nebraska game. He did not look that good against Nebraska. You go to the USC game where they got gobsmacked. I don't think he threw for that many yards in that game.
He didn't look great against Northwestern 2 weeks ago when they needed a comeback win.
Which hats off to Northwestern. That's been a team this year that's been good enough to compete with everybody, but not good enough to beat anybody until they beat Minnesota on Saturday. So
Andrew Marsh at Michigan is a player to watch, a true freshman wide receiver. The kid has come on lately this year. He has become the number one target for Bryce Underwood. He's got 641 yards. Against Northwestern, had 12 catches, 189. Last week, 5 catches, 176 and a touchdown. He has come on lately this year. And to me, that's where Michigan is going to have to find a matchup threat, like a matchup. Who can you put Andrew Marsh up against where you can get some yards? Because you're going to have to throw. You can't run the ball. Jordan Marshall, it sounds like he's going to play, but he's not going to be 100%. There's no way he's 100% after being banged up, possibly a shoulder injury. Also, at this point in the season, most guys aren't 100%.
no,
You've just played
100%.
11 games. Nobody's
either
100%.
hurt or you're lying.
Exactly. So Jordan Marshall, he's not going to be 100%. They're going to have to rotate running backs. Justice Haynes is not going to play from every indication that he's out for the year. Jordan Marshall is going to have to carry the load. They're going to have to rely on some other reserve running backs.
Bryson Cosdall has also led the team in rushing yards in one game. I mean, he's not awful.
Yeah. No, he came in last game and had a good game against Maryland. They took care of business. Bryce Underwood, though, he has to take care of the football. There was 5 turnovers by Michigan against Northwestern, and they found a way to win. If Michigan has more turnovers than Ohio State, I don't see a way they can win this game.
And a lot of flack was given to Bryce Underwood because he got paid so much money to go to Michigan, which, newsflash, if any of you got offered the amount of money he did, y'all would also go play at whatever school you were.
I'd go play in Alaska for that amount of money.
Right. So he's been okay. 9 touchdowns passing, 5 interceptions. So not moving the needle in terms of scoring, passing wise, but he does enough. He's efficient. He's completed about 65% of his passes. So, 62% of his passes. He's done enough for this Michigan team to win. I don't want to compare him to JJ McCarthy because I think he's a more talented player than JJ McCarthy was. But this roster isn't as good as that 2020 or 2021, whatever. No, 2022 Michigan team was because they don't have Connor Stallions. But Bryce Underwood can run the football and can run the football well. There's been a game this year where he led the team in rushing. So he is a capable runner. What they're probably going to do is roll him out away from Reese or whatever, get him on the move. If Ohio State's putting pressure up the middle, they're just going to have him roll out a lot. I wouldn't be shocked to see a lot of design quarterback runs. I think Michigan's going to try to maintain time possession and just wear Ohio State out. They're going to try to beat them like they've had to beat them every single other year when they've beaten them. And they've done that by winning in the trenches, winning time of possession, and running the damn football. And making the freaking shots matter. Like when you get an opportunity to hit, you got to hit them. And I don't think Michigan has that killer instinct factor this year. Yes, they're 9-2, but it is a very weak 9-2. This is not a 9-2 team that, in my opinion, should be in playoff consideration. They are because they're 9-2, which they've deserted because they've won games. But you look at who they've beaten. They've beaten New Mexico, Central Michigan, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Washington, which I would give that a quality win. Michigan State, that was a better game than it should have been. Purdue, which they got in a dogfight with Purdue, got in a dogfight with Northwestern, 1-2, and then Maryland. And Maryland doesn't have their starting quarterback. Their losses, Oklahoma and USC. When they've played somebody, they've struggled. Because their 2 losses, they've lost by double digits.
I think you hit the nail on the head. If Michigan's going to win this game, you've got to control. Michigan is not a team that's going to go and score 3 plays in 75 yards in a minute and a half too often. That's just not their identity. It's just not who they are. They're more systematic about 10 plays, 71 yards, 5.5 minutes. They don't move with pace typically. I think you could see a couple different things. Like Penn State had a little bit of success in tempo. I could see Sharon Moore seeing that and saying, we're going to try this a little bit, see if we can play with some tempo here and get going and help our offense get into a good position. Main thing for Ohio State is how can you put Michigan behind the sticks? If you force Bryce Underwood to have to throw the ball 30, 35 times and force him to have to try to come back. I am not confident that he can do that at this stage in his career. He threw 32 times against Northwestern. He threw 31 times against New Mexico. Those are the only times he's crossed 30.
Hey,
Everything else has been 27 or 28. His accuracy has been hit or miss. He sometimes misses high, especially going downfield, and that's not great because you might have a safety playing over the top. You might have a cornerback over there. He has got to control his accuracy. And like you said, how can they move in the pocket? How can they move him around? Bryce Underwood, can he convert a 3rd and 6 rollout where he runs for a first down?
Yeah, and hands up, by the way, I was calling him Arnell Reese. It's definitely Arvell Reese. Sorry about that. Don't sack me in my sleep. And then Caden Curry, who, when I was at the game against Nebraska last year, I kept saying, man, I like the way that guy looks. I like the way that guy looks when they would finally put him on the field. He actually has more sacks than Arvell Reese this year. He's got 9 of them. So
he should have had a touchdown last week, for being honest.
Yeah, you've got some more daddies out there. So what's crazy is last year I was more confident in Ohio State beating Michigan because of how bad Michigan was. I'm actually more confident in this Ohio State game because of how consistent Ohio State is and how well-rounded they are. Last year, they were not a well-rounded team. They couldn't run the football and they couldn't rush the passer. This year, they can rush the passer and they can run the football. Bo Jackson has established himself as a pretty freaking good running back. But you've got 4 guys who have been legitimate at points this year. C.J. Donaldson, James Peoples, Bo Jackson, and I'm forgetting the 4th guy.
Isaiah West.
Thank you. So Ohio State's been, again, doing it by committee. Nobody's worn out in that running back room. So this is going to be, I think this is going to be a blowout. I said that last year. I think it's going to be a blowout.
From your lips to God's ears.
You're not allowed to say that, though. Jake, you need to put the tree up at halftime. You cannot break that tradition this year. Wasn't
able to last year because I was at the game, but that's going to be the goal. Going to be the goal this year. All right, let's talk about our hot takes of the week, sponsored by Gridiron Spice. If you don't have Gridiron Spice already, I don't know what you're doing. You missed it out for your turkey. You're not going to be able to put it on your turkey this year. Gridiron Spice, where bold meets flavor.
There's still time, Jake. There's still time.
I mean, if you order it, I don't know if you're going to get it in time. Plus, I hope you have your turkey starting to get thawed. Gridiron Spice brings bold flavor to every meal, from the signature varsity blend to the fiery hot round and a Cajun expired go long. These seasonings are built for game day. They're built for Thanksgiving. You should have been using it already. Head to gridironspiceco.com and use the code WALKON for 10% off your order. Gridiron Spice, where football meets flavor. Last week, I said Kevin Jennings would have 400 total yards and 4 touchdowns. He had 305 and 4 touchdowns. I was right there. You said Oklahoma beat Missouri by 3 scores. They won by 11. Again, close. We're sitting right there.
I haven't hit one yet. I've been so close all year, and I think this is the week I get it. I can't wait to tell mine.
Go ahead. Start with it.
No, you go first.
All right. So I've said this since before the season starts, and I can't back down now. Georgia Tech beats Georgia. I think that loss last year is still sitting there, still festering. They get it this year. Georgia Tech beats Georgia. Brent Key gets the one he wants.
I was on that train until Georgia Tech just beat me upside the head with their horrible defense. But that is a spicy take, and it makes it spicier. My spicy take: Jeremiah Smith scores 3 touchdowns to take the monkey off of Ryan Day's back. But I want to add a little bit more to it. Yes, that's already a spicy take in itself. 3 touchdowns is difficult. Then Jeremiah Smith will go up behind Ryan Day and reenact, or kind of mime out taking a monkey off of Ryan Day's back. Ryan Day will try to be serious through it. He'll try to act like, no, like this, try to be professional, whatever. This is just a game. And then he's going to break. And you're going to see just the relief come off of his face. You know when you have to pee really, 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 really bad and you can't, and then you finally get to go pee, that feeling you get? You're going to see that face from Ryan Day after they beat Michigan this weekend. Ryan Day's going to have to pee, guys, on national television.
Just the full emotion. I pray you're correct. I am
Jake. So you heard it here first. Jake wants to see Ryan Day have a P gun.
I will be okay with that. I will be. Michigan fans would go all in because they would say, of course he wins, and then also, or of course he wins and he pees his pants on national television.
No, he won't pee his pants. The face he'll make.
Yeah, the face. They'll have that saved in all of their iPhone photos, and they'll use it for everything. All right. Walk on weekly 10, but we have 20 this week, presented by Battle Bets. College football got a whole lot better, and sports got a whole lot better. Forget Vegas, forget risking real money. You can run your own league on Battle Bets. Here's how it works. You join a league, use fake money to bet on the biggest games every day, every week, and you can track it all part of the action. The best part, it's not just for bragging rights. Plenty of leagues giving out prizes. Stack points over the season, prove you're the sharpest better. It's free, it's fun, it's built for sports fans just like us. All right, last week I went 4-5. You went 8-1. You picked up 4 games on me there. I am sitting at 65 wins. You are sitting at 60. I have a 5-win lead. We are going to pick 20 games for Rivalry Week because we got tons of action here. We're going to cruise through these kind of quick here because 20 games would take us way too long to talk about it. So no offense if your team gets talked about. There's 40 teams in here. I promise that we have thoughts, but it takes too long to get through all these.
Let's say 19.5. I don't want to know Clemson and South Carolina. I don't know if you want to consider them.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right. Navy. We'll start on Thursday. Navy at Memphis. Memphis is a 5.5-point favorite.
Memphis takes the dagger to Navy's seasons. Memphis is good against the run this year, and I think that's going to help them. And Navy is poor against the pass, which I think is going to end up hurting them in the long run. Memphis and defense win on Thursday night.
I have Navy covering, Memphis winning. Navy still has a hope to make the American Conference Championship. I think that's still in the back of their mind. They have a chance to potentially make the playoff. I think they keep it close, but I think Memphis pulls out the win. I'll take Navy to cover here. Friday, we have A&M at Texas. A&M is at 2.5-point favorite. We talked about this game a little bit already.
Jake, I'd take Texas A&M at 10.5.
Yeah, we talked about this. I like A&M a lot. Marcel Reed, I think that explosive offense is going to do a lot for them. Give me the Aggies. Egg Bowl Friday should be played on Thanksgiving. Don't know why it's not. Should be played on Thanksgiving again. Ole Miss. I remember that one where Ole Miss. I think it was Elijah Moore.
Yep.
Elijah Moore. He pretended he was a dog, took a pee, and got a penalty, and then they missed the extra point. Ole Miss is a 7.5-point favorite on the road at Mississippi State this weekend. You taking Bulldogs, taking Rebels. Maybe Lane Kiffin the last game at Ole Miss.
Yeah, despite all the distractions, I think the players locked in. The players are going to have to move on from what's going on with all these coaches making it about them. I'm not going to go on that rant again. Give me Ole Miss to cover. Trinidad Chambliss has a great game.
I think I'm taking Trinidad Chambliss as well. I think that they win. They are on to the playoff. I like the Rebels to win by 7.5. I think they win by 14-17 this weekend. Another game Friday, Georgia at Georgia Tech, even though it's technically a neutral site game, even though it's being played in Atlanta and it should be played on Georgia Tech's campus. But that's another rant for another time. Georgia's 12.5-point favorite.
Georgia.
I already talked about this. I got Georgia Tech. I think they upset the Bulldogs. I think they come back for revenge. Arizona versus Arizona State. Really good game on Friday night here this week as well. Wildcats versus Sun Devils. Arizona State's a 1.5 favorite here. You like the Wildcats, you like Sun Devils?
I love the Wildcats in this game. They are one of the hottest teams in football right now, and it's because of their defense. Their defense, despite Noah Fafita and all the offensive praise they've been getting the last few years, their defense has absolutely come on lately, and that's going to be the difference in this game.
Yeah, Arizona, a team that not many people are talking about. 3 losses this year to Houston, BYU, and Iowa State. 3 good teams, but has been cruising lately with Baylor, Cincinnati, Kansas, Colorado. I like the Wildcats as well. I think they finish strong. I think the Wildcats then transition this into being a potential favorite in the Big 12 next year. So give me Arizona as well. Another Friday game, Iowa at Nebraska. Iowa is a 6.5-point favorite this week.
Iowa's going to give them the belt. Nebraska has not been the same team since they lost Dylan Raiola.
Yeah, Nebraska did not look good this past week, losing to Penn State. They got beat bad, and I think Iowa takes care of business. I think they're just more physical than Nebraska this week.
And if Penn State wins this weekend, there's a very good chance they play against Clemson in a bowl game.
It'd be the ugliest bowl game we've ever seen. Northwestern versus Illinois, both in the state of Illinois. Illinois is 6.5-point favorite this weekend.
I really wanted to pick Northwestern, but Brett Bielema just wins these games. I think Brett Bielema does enough. Illinois wins, they cover. Northwestern is a very, very difficult team, especially against the spread.
Northwestern has played a lot of teams difficult. They beat Minnesota by 38-35, took Michigan to the wire, beat Penn State earlier this year. I like Northwestern to cover. I don't know if they win, but I think this game is close, and I think Northwestern covers the spread here. North Carolina versus NC State. Last year, we had a full-on brawl between these two. NC State's a 7.5-point favorite. Who you like?
NC State. North Carolina is getting more and more bad publicity. Jordan Hudson is suing Pablo Torre, and there's stories coming out about just absolute blowout fights in the facility between family members. It's the circus has gotten bigger in Chapel Hill, and I think that gets even worse. So give me NC State to win, and I think they're going to win big.
I think this is potentially Bill Belichick's swan song. I think
Jordan Hudson game.
I think this might be his final game. I think North Carolina keeps this close. I think NC State and CJ Bailey win this game, but I think North Carolina keeps it close. I think they do enough. North Carolina has quietly improved a little bit throughout the year. They're not absolutely terrible anymore. They're just still pretty bad, but I think they keep this close. Vanderbilt at Tennessee. Vandy is a 2.5-point underdog on the road at Tennessee. Tennessee's favored. Who you like?
This one's difficult. I think Tennessee wants to salvage their season, and they do that by beating Diego Pavia and the Commodores and just get some redemption after the trash talk tour he went on earlier this year.
I see. I'm buying into Pavia right now. This is his final regular season game. They're trying to get a spot in the playoff. They have an outside shot to make it. I don't know if they'll make it, but I think Vanderbilt wins this game. Miami at Pitt. Miami is a 6.5-point favorite on the road at Pitt this weekend.
I want to pick Pitt so badly. But something tells me Miami gets the monkey off their back and wins this game to get themselves deeper into the conversation of making the playoffs. I think they might make the playoffs if they win this weekend.
Cold weather game. I don't like the Hurricanes. It's supposed to be cold up in Pitt this weekend. It's supposed to be looking like in the 30s.
That is
going
huge.
to be a cold game, low scoring. I like Pitt. I like the guys that are from up north. Mason Heinstrel's from Northwest Ohio, knows how to play in this weather. Just saying. Carson Beck, not from Northwest Ohio. Virginia Tech at Virginia. Virginia is an 11.5-point favorite this weekend.
You already know who I'm picking. I've been with them all year. Y'all thought I was crazy. Now you're singing my praises, and they might even do better than I thought they would. Give me them all Wahoos. Give me them all Wahoos to win big. Chandler Morris, Chad Morris's son. Legacy game.
Yeah. Virginia Tech is checked out. New coach coming in. Road game. Give me Virginia. LSU at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a 10.5-point favorite this weekend.
Oklahoma. That LSU team is bad. Hot Chinese water trash. Terrible, awful, horrible. They almost lost to Western Kentucky. Give me Oklahoma.
I should put my hot take as LSU gets shut out because I think it's going to happen. I don't think Oklahoma scores a lot. I think this is like 17-0, but I think Oklahoma wins the game.
What if the game is 11-0? That would be beautiful.
With 3 field goals and a safety?
No. A touchdown, 2-point conversion and a field goal.
Nah, 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals and safety is way more.
That would be more beautiful.
Missouri is a 2.5-point favorite on the road at Arkansas this weekend.
Missouri. Bumperville look good. They're trying to hold on to the drink. The defense is good. They're going to be able to slow down Arkansas enough. Arkansas's defense is so bad. Give me Missouri, and Ahmad Hardy just have a phenomenal football game.
Ahmad Hardy's going to go wild. I also think Arkansas is going to go wild. Possibly Bobby Petrino's last game as the coach of Arkansas until he comes back as an offensive coordinator and becomes an interim again. Round 3. It's going to happen. We all know it. So I'm going to take Arkansas here. I think Arkansas wins at home. And I think that it's a potential interview for Bobby Petrino.
Should Cal hire John Gruden?
John Gruden at Cal would be ridiculous.
We forgot to mention that, so I had to bring it up.
Kentucky at Louisville. Louisville's a 3.5-point favorite.
Louisville.
I'm gonna take
Zach Calzada's got too much cash in his pockets. He's not going to be able to run, even though he's not starting.
I'm going to take Kentucky. I don't know if Miller Moss is going to play. I'm just not really sold on Louisville right now. They're on a big downhill spiral, especially after that beating they took to SMU last week.
If Miller Moss doesn't play, it could be different.
Oregon at Washington. Oregon's a 6.5-point favorite at Washington this weekend.
Oregon. Actually, the bigger news would be does Isaac Brown play against Kentucky?
It's important. Yeah, I'm going to take Oregon here. I like Washington, but they have kind of fallen off a little bit. And Oregon, I think Washington has fallen off a little bit. Oregon is hitting their stride at the right time. Give me Oregon. Wisconsin at Minnesota. Paul Bunyan's Axe. Minnesota's a 2.5-point favorite.
Wisconsin, they're on a little bit of a heater right now. They beat Illinois last week. Give me Wisconsin.
I like Minnesota. This game's at Minnesota. I think PJ Fleck gets the win. Minnesota is quietly having an okay season. I don't think a lot of people thought a lot about them this year. I think we originally had them pretty low, and Minnesota's sitting at 6-5. They finished at 7-5 with a potential bowl win. Not a bad season for PJ Fleck when you're starting a brand new quarterback.
I think I had them 7-5, 6-6, 7-5.
We had them on the low. I want to say we had them around. I had them at least 5 or 6 wins, 4 or 5 wins, I think.
Koi Pond legacy game.
Koi Pond legacy game. Love it. Love it. Florida at Florida State. The battle of we don't have a coach versus we don't want our coach.
The battle of Assahassi. Florida State. Give me Florida State. They just got some confidence. Their coach is going to be there.
Yeah, so they don't. State. I don't know if that was definitely a vote of confidence. That might have been donate more, please.
That's a broke of confidence. Florida State, regardless.
Let's take Florida here. They've been kind of playing feisty after Billy Napier, and I think Florida gets it done this weekend. Iron Bowl, Alabama and Auburn. Who you like? Alabama's 5.5-point favorite.
This one's going to be abuse. Alabama.
I am going to take Alabama as well. If Deuce Knight is starting, I think he's good, but putting a true freshman on in his second start, he gets Alabama after his first start was an FCS team. It's going to be kind of tough.
He did have 3 rushes for like 9,000 yards and 3 touchdowns against Mercer.
Yes, but it was also Mercer. And Alabama is more talented than Mercer. Clemson, South Carolina. South Carolina's 2.5-point favorite.
South Carolina is 131st in sacks allowed. Clemson is 21st in sacks caused. I think that's the difference in the game. In an ugly football game, you got to win in the trenches. Give me Clemson to win.
I'm going to take Clemson to win this game as well. South Carolina, they blew that game to A&M. They beat Coastal, but I think that A&M loss is still going to be in the back of their mind. I'm not confident in Shane Beamer. They have 4 wins, and none are against good teams. So I am going to take Clemson to win this game as well. Final game here, Ohio State versus Michigan. Ohio State is a 10.5-point favorite this weekend.
Ohio State, and I think it's going to be a bludgeoning. I already said Jeremiah Smith legacy game.
I have watched enough of these games in my lifetime to know that rarely is it ever a bludgeoning on one side or the other. Sometimes it is. Michigan has gotten it. Ohio State has gotten it. More often than not, it is a chess match. It is a bar fight. It is down to the wire. I'm going to take Michigan to cover, Ohio State to win. I think they finally get it done. Hopefully, knock on wood. I hope you're listening to me, every god and Easter bunny above. Praying to the Tooth Fairy and praying to Bambi, whoever wants to listen to me.
Bambi's going to move the needle for you.
Man, I think Bambi did it. All right, that does it. We picked 20 games, did that in rapid style fashion. Appreciate everybody listening to us. We have Rivalry Week. We'll have tons of content out this week. We've already had one rivalry piece come out. I think we'll have some other ones come out here this week as well. I know
Jackson Capital special.
That was a great one. I know I'm going to try to put one out this week as well about Ohio State, Michigan, see what I can come up with. But if you're not doing so already, go make sure to follow the walkonredshirts.com. Go follow us on Twitter at Walk On Redshirts, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you get your social media content. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give us a like, give us a rating. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want to hear, what you want to change. If you're not doing so already, go follow Will at Walk On Moose on Twitter. Great follow. Make sure to go check us out. We will be back again next week to preview conference championship. Hey, is Clemson going to be playing next weekend? I didn't think so. Well, my team might not either. I probably just jinxed myself now that I said that, but never know. We'll be back again next week. What'd you say?
Oh, Michigan would play, wouldn't they?
Technically,
win.
Oregon, if they
Oregon,
win,
yeah.
gets the spot. So
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
we'll see. We'll be back again next week for another great episode. Thanks for joining.